above the city, on a tall column, stood the statue of the happy prince. He was gilded all over with thin leaves of fine gold. For eyes, he had 2 bright sapphires, and a large red ruby glowed on his sword hilt. One night, there flew over the city a little swallow. His friends had gone away to Egypt 6 weeks before, but he had stayed behind. Then he decided to go to Egypt too. Where shall I put up? I hope the town has made preparations. I will put up there. Then he saw the statue on the tall column. I will put up there. It is a fine position with plenty of fresh air. Oh wow! I have a golden bedroom. What a curious thing! There is not a single cloud in the sky. The stars are quite clear and bright, and yet it is raining. What is the use of a statue if it cannot keep the rain off? I must look for a good chimney pot. Who are you?
I am the happy prince.
Why are you weeping then? You have quite drenched me.
When I was alive and had a human heart, I did not know what tears were, for I lived in the palace where sorrow is not allowed to enter. My courtiers called me the happy prince, and happy indeed I was. So I lived, and so I died, and now I am dead, and have been set up so high. I can see the ugliness and all the misery of my city, and though my heart is made of lead, yet I cannot choose but weep.
What? Is he not solid gold?
Far away in a little street, there is a poor house. The woman, a seamstress, is embroidering flowers on a satin gown. Her face is thin and worn. She has coarse red hands, all pricked by the needle. In a bed in the corner of the room, her little boy is lying ill. He has fever and is asking for oranges. Poor mother has nothing to give but river water. Swallow, little swallow, will you not bring her the ruby out of my sword hilt? My feet are fastened to this pedestal, and I cannot move.
I am fated in Egypt. I want to go to Egypt. The happy prince looked so sad that the little swallow agreed to be his messenger for a night. The swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roofs of the town. At last, he came to a poor house. He laid the ruby Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince and told him what he had done. It is curious, but I feel quite warm now, although it's so cold.
That is because you have done a good action.
Have you any commissions for Egypt? I'm just starting.
Dear Swallow, will you stay with me one night longer?
I'm waited for in Egypt.
Swallow, Swallow, far away across the city, I see a young man in the garret. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers. He has large and dreamy eyes. He is trying to finish a play for the director of the theatre, but he is too cold to write any more. There is no fire in the grate, and hunger has made him faint.
I will wait with you one night longer. The swallow really had a good heart.
Pluck out one of my sapphires and take it to the playwright. He'll sell it to the jeweler and buy a firewood and finish his play.
Dear Prince, I can't do that.
Swallow, Swallow, little swallow, do as I command you.
So the swallow plucked out the prince's eye and flew away to the student's garret.
Oh, I am beginning to be appreciated. This is from some great admirer. Now I can finish my play.
The next day, when the moon rose, the swallow flew back to the happy prince.
Dear little swallow, fly over my city and tell me what you see there.
I have come to bid you goodbye.
Swallow, Swallow, little swallow, will you not stay with me one night longer?
It is winter, and the snow will soon be here. In Egypt, the sun is warm.
In the square below, there stands a little match girl. Her matches have fell in the gutter, and they are all spoiled. Her father will beat her if she does not bring home some money, and she is crying. She has no shoes or stockings, and her little head is bare. Pluck out my other eye and give it to her.
I will stay with you one night longer, but I cannot pluck out your eye. You will be quite blind then.
Swallow, Swallow, little swallow, do as I command you.
So the swallow plucked out the prince's other eye and darted down with it. He swooped past the match girl and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand. What a lovely bit of glass! Then the swallow came back to the prince. You are blind now, so I will stay with you always.
No, little swallow, you must go away to Egypt.
No, I will stay with you always. The next day, the swallow sat on the prince's shoulder and told him stories of what he had seen in strange lands.
Dear little swallow, fly over my city and tell me what you see there.
So the swallow flew over the great city and saw the rich making merry in the beautiful houses, while the beggars were sitting at the gates. Then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen.
You must take my fine gold off, leaf by leaf, and give it to the poor.
The swallow picked off leaf after leaf of the fine gold till the happy prince looked quite dull and grey. Then the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but he would not leave the prince. The prince loved him too. He tried to keep himself warm by flapping his wings, but at last he knew that he was going to die. He had just enough strength to fly up to the prince's shoulder once more.
Goodbye, dear prince. Will you let me kiss your hand?
I'm glad that you are going to Egypt at last, little swallow. You have stayed too long here.
It is not to Egypt that I'm going. I'm going to the house of death.
And the swallow fell down dead at the feet of the happy prince. At that moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue, as if something had broken. The fact is that the leaden heart had snapped right in two. Early the next morning, the mayor was walking in the square with the town councillors. He passed the column where the statue of the happy prince was fixed.
How shabby the happy prince looks.
How shabby indeed.
The ruby has fallen out of his sword. His eyes are gone, and he is golden no longer. In fact, he is little better than a beggar.
Little better than a beggar.
And here is actually a dead bird at his feet. We must really issue a proclamation that birds are not to be allowed to die here.
So, the statue of the happy prince was pulled down and sent to an art university. Then the statue was melted in a furnace.
What a strange thing. This broken lead heart will not melt in the furnace. We must throw it away.
So, it was thrown on a dust heap where the dead swallow was also lying. One day, the god asked his angel to bring him the two most precious things in the city. The angel brought him the lead heart and the dead bird. The angel brought him the lead heart and the dead bird.
You have rightly chosen, for in my garden of paradise, this little bird shall sing forever, and in my city of gold, the happy prince shall praise me.